What's up, everybody? It's been a few weeks since I've done a new video, and I thought that this would be a good time to record one. As of this recording, about 3 hours ago, we put a trailer online for what is, I guess, my new project. It's the thing that I've been putting a lot of work into for the last couple months. It's a web series that I made with some friends. First episode is online right now. You can go watch it. By the way, I'm not greasy. This is, I just took a shower, so though if things get bad in quarantine, I can always use this to cook food with. The thing I wanted to talk about is that right now I've sort of finished this project. We're in the process of releasing it, but I don't really know yet if anyone likes it. You know, it's like it could be, as is the case with everything, it could be a complete flop. It could just be like no one cares, or they watch it and they don't like it. And it's just got me thinking, like, how will this motivate or demotivate me depending on what happens? You know, like if this thing does really, really well, I would feel a lot of confidence and inspiration going into the next project. And it got me, and I was wondering, like, man, if this doesn't do well, I wonder what would happen to my inspiration. Like, would I be okay to make a string of failures for the rest of my life? Now, I'm not saying that's what I've done or that is what will happen. It's just like an interesting way of thinking about it, to sort of figure out your motivations for making things. I struggled for a long time about whether I wanted to be like an artist or creative person or someone who tries to like make a lot of stuff. And ultimately what I just realized was that it's just something that I had to do. It's something that I felt at my worst when I wasn't doing it. And more I just think of making things as not a thing that you do, but it's a way that you are. It's like it's a way of life. And I think that that's ultimately maybe the dividing line between people who are really in this thing and people who aren't, is that if you can't take some failure, it's probably not something that you should be doing, because you're doing it too much for other people. And I do think it is important to think about an audience and you know, you want to, you know, you do that fourth edit or that fifth edit, or like in the case of these videos, it's like the fucking 120th edit. You do that so that things are clear and that you should care about the audience. But what I mean is, like, if you're doing it for some kind of recognition, you know, tell the joke even if no one laughs if you think it's funny. Bad analogy, but hopefully my point is coming across here. I think we've gotten, weirdly as a society, kind of too hung up on like the idea of professionals. You know, you're like, are you a professional artist? Are you a professional writer? Are you a professional musician? If someone can sort of make it as a professional artist, to me that really does come down more to luck. There are people who are both ahead of their time and behind their time who are good at making things, but their stuff doesn't resonate with the moment. Philip K. Dick is a really good example. Like, he wrote something like 40 or 50 novels and died basically penniless. Right before he died, he got to see the first cut of the first film being adapted from one of his books. That film was Blade Runner. He is someone now who has almost become like a genre in and of himself. But when he was writing, he didn't get nearly the kind of attention that he deserved. I don't even think your success is tied to how good you are. It's truly a random blessing of the universe whether what you make resonates with the moment. I was listening to an album that Paul McCartney put out like a year or two ago, and it was incredible to me how good that music is. Like, his music that he's making today at like in his 70s is as good as he was making with the Beatles. I mean, honestly, well, maybe not with the Beatles, because there's the whole like John and Paul synthesis, but like his stuff afterwards, at least, like, because the Beatles are in, I mean, they're just, I don't think anything has ever touched the Beatles, but whatever. Not a tangent that I need to get off on. The fact that his music isn't being played on the radio right now doesn't have anything to do with the quality. You know, like, there's just other things which people are into and think are important. And like, definitely his music feels like an older person making music, and that it's like older styles and stuff, but it's honestly still so good. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this new project is received. And while success or failure would mean external things for my life, I think / hope that ultimately it doesn't really matter how this does, and that, you know, I'm already, like, I kind of think it's important, you know, to, you know, it's not like I just, like, dismiss old projects where I'm like, I'm never returning to that. But it is sort of important, I think, to think of them as, like, you just got to move on to the next thing. Your life is ultimately ends in death, and it's not determined by some kind of success or failure. It's an experience. You know, your whole life is basically an art project. And I'm trying more and more lately to think about, like, to make choices that are interesting and not ones that are like I think it's a trap you can fall into where you're like, I'll do the thing that's like most likely to be successful. Like, I think, because you might be wrong about that, but I think rarely when you make a choice to do the thing that's most interesting, is that not true? All right, everybody. I hope you're doing okay out there in this very strange time. Thank you for watching, and now enjoy the trailer for season 1 of Bug's House.
I'm out here pounding the pavement Sunday morning on behalf of the Burbank Fathers Association to rid the community of the menace. I think we all know what menace we're talking about.
Buzz, buzz, buzz. We're gonna learn a little dance.
Take Spanish fun. Take Spanish fun.
Look, now I bless. There we go.
A traitor in our midst is about the worst thing I could consider.
I definitely have heard things.
Why aren't you the Judas?
If you can nip a cult in the bud before it becomes a cult, before it grows into a cult.
It's like Kafka. It's like Kafka, which I've never read Kafka, but from what I hear, it's about like.
I've been waiting for you all my life. Hoping for a miracle. I've been waiting day and night. Day and night. I've been waiting for you all my life. Waiting for redemption. I've been waiting day and night. I burn for.
I swear, nothing is better than Cheesecake Factory brown bread and Rain Peach Fizz.